The event I covered was the Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks on Saturday, August 17th. The main storylines coming into any preseason game is for players to stay healthy. The games do not count in standings, so any team wants all players to stay healthy. Also, teams need to start focusing on the best 53 players to start cutting down to the final roster. And lastly, since I was watching it through a Denver station, another main storyline was Peyton Manning to Wes Welker, as they had not hooked up for a reception yet in the preseason. The announcers were Vern Lundquist and former Bronco John Lynch. Lundquist has that voice that just draws people in. He is by no means monotone. He gets into the action of the game and gets excited for big plays. This draws in any audience. John Lynch, though, knows football and is a great analyst, but I don't think his next career will be as a big-time broadcaster. He speaks in the same tone the whole time, but like I said, he knows football and that's all you can ask of an analyst. Storylines that developed during the game were that they were talked about during the pregame. A couple Broncos players went out with injuries. One player had a major injury and had to leave the game in an ambulance with a cervical spine injury. Luckily, he had movement in his extremities. Also, Peyton Manning and Wes Welker hooked up for 3 passes and a touchdown. The Broncos also made a lot of mistakes during the game from players that are trying to make the roster. I kept saying that if I was a coach, these couple of guys are showing me more negatives than positives, and they would no longer be part of the team and the final 53-man roster. In social media, it was covered great through Seahawks fans and coverage because they dominated the game from start to finish. But in the Denver market, I didn't see anybody post or tweet anything because we were all so disgusted in the performance of the Denver Broncos. The only thing I saw that dealt with social media was updates through sports stations that I follow on Twitter and the Broncos Twitter account. Throughout the broadcast, the only way they integrated social media was they put the announcers' Twitter accounts up when they were on live TV so people can follow them if they want to, and it's easy for them to look them up. Sometimes the broadcasters would answer Twitter or Facebook questions on air, but this did not happen at all during this broadcast. It's hard to say anything good about the event as I am a die-hard Broncos fan, but with how it relates to what we have learned so far, I would say not much. Yes, it was a broadcast, so it ties in with this class, but since it was a preseason game, they don't go all out on the broadcasts. The announcers didn't hook us in at the beginning of the broadcast, and it was a dull broadcast other than hearing Vern Lundquist commentate the game. I was actually very excited to see that he was announcing the game because the way he is as a broadcaster makes him one of the best in the business.